In this video, we are going to continue our work from the last video, which we create a Zoom clone in this video, and you will find the code here in my GitHub in this repo. This code is going to be the code of the last tutorial, which allow you to create this meeting screen and go to a meeting screen and have this feature, and you can join with other meets, and you can join meetings, and also you have this feature picture-in-picture mode, and all of that you will find it here in this repo. But in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to do this sign in button and register or sign up with your Google account and store the data here in the authentication and save the user's data and meeting history data of the user in the Firestore. All of that in this video as fast as we can, because I don't want to waste your time. The first step, we have to create a new project in the Firebase. So let's create a Zoom clone. I'm gonna disable Google Analytics because we don't need it, and wait till the project ends. Now it's ready. Let's continue our work in this project. Now we here in this Firebase project, let's create an app or Android app. The first thing, it asks you to get the package name. Let's go to the build gradle of on the app level and scroll here. You'll find it here, which is application ID, and here give it any name. 1, 2, 3, and register your application. For the SHA, I'm going to show you, this is optional for now, but I'm going to show you how to handle this later. Now we have to add this in the build gradle of the project level. So let's open the project level here, which is Android here, build gradle. Okay, we have the Google and even Central, and here we need to add this line, so let's add it here, and I think all of this existing already. Okay, now in the app level build gradle, which is here, which have your packet name, you have to modify your minimum SDK for 21 or more, or 19 I guess for Firebase. But as I told you before, the package jitsi required minimum SDK 24 or more, so we setting it for 24. Also, don't forget to enable the multi-dix here. It's important for this project. Now for the plugins, let's search for a plugin. Yeah, it's here. So let's duplicate this because it's different here, and get the ID of this Google Services plugin, and just copy this and paste it here. I prefer to do this instead, I don't get any errors. After that, let's next and continue to our console. Let's go to projects here, and here we are gonna to generate or add our fingerprint. And for that, we are gonna to go to the terminal, and let's enter this code, and I will leave it in the comment or in the description of this video. And here you have the SHA-1 and the SHA256. I didn't add it in the first time because we need to add the both of them if you are going to apply this to your Google Play. So let's add the both of them, add another fingerprint, and it's auto recognize it for you. And now we have to download the Google Services.json file, and let's put here, go to our project and go to Android app and put it here. Now I think everything working. Let's hot restart our application and see if there is any errors. I think everything worked okay. Now let's enable the authentication. So go to build authentication, and here you have many options to do or start with. And for our case, we are going to sign in with Google. So let's enable the sign up with Google, and here choose your support email and save. Also, we are going to add the Firestore enable or get it enabled, because we don't want to come back here again and create the database. Now we have the Cloud Firestore ready for us. And that's it for the Firebase. Let's go to Android Studio. In the last video, we add important packages, which is the Firebase Core and the Firebase Authentication and Firebase Storage if we need it, I think we could need it. And for that we don't need for now, but maybe we will need it. And also the Cloud Firestore. And for the sign in button, sign in with Google, we're going to use these two packages here. After you add this, pubget and wait. So let's go to our lib folder and create a new folder and call it Firebase. And here we are going to create two files, the authentication file. Also we need a method for Firestore, so let's create a separate file for the Firestore. So let's start with the authentication file and create a new class and call it auth methods. And here we need important instance, which is a Firebase auth. So let's create an instance and import the package for Firebase authentication. After that, we are going to create a function that is going to sign in with Google, which is going to return a future Boolean value even the result is true or false. So let's start with initializing a Boolean result and initialize it for a false. And since this is a future, so we need to try and catch if there is any error. So the first here in the try block, we need a Google user. So let's add a final Google sign-in account, which can be a null. And wait, also we missed something here. This method have to be asynchronized because we're dealing with futures. And for this Google user here, we are gonna to await Google sign-in function .sign-in. And for that, we have to import the Google sign-in Dart to make this all work. After that, we are going to need something called Google sign-in authentication, which is going to be waiting for a Google user .authentication. After that, we are having a credential of the Google authentication provider .credential, and here we need two things. First is access token and the ID token. For that, we can use this Google authentication here to get the access token. Of course, this is have to be nullable. And also here we can use Google authentication to get the ID token. So we need this Google user to get this Google authentication, and we need Google authentication to get the credential. All of this depending on the Google sign-in package that we added before. And for the next step, we are going to have or need a user credential from Firebase authentication, which is going to wait for the authentication, which is going to await our authentication instance here to sign in with Google, for credential. And it's going to take this credential here to try it in the Firebase and see if it's valid or not to just authenticate the user. After that, of course, we are going to receive a user, and the user is going to be our user credential to .user, because we are going to use this user now. We are going to use this user here to add the user data to our Firestore if he sign up for the first time. So to use the Firestore, we need to create here a final Firestore instance, and let's import the packages of the Cloud Firestore because we are going to use this Firestore instance here. Now we want to save the user data, but first we need to make sure that user is not null because it's nullable here. It could be null. So let's make a condition if the user not null. So let's add this user to the database. But wait, what about if the user sign in and sign in once more and sign in once more? It doesn't make any sense. We have to make sure that he sign up for the first time. So let's make another condition. If this user credential here dot additional user information dot is newer or is new user, then if this true, wait, we have to, okay, we have to do something. Okay, if this user here or this user credential that we got from Firebase, already the user is existing, it's not going to do anything. But if he is a user or a new user, so let's add the data to the Firebase. Now remember, we are returning this result here, the last thing in this function, but we need to set this result to true here after he add the data or the user just sign in. So let's set this to true, and that's after this condition here, or after adding the user data to the Firestore database. Oh, we are returning also this result here, we are returning it here after the catch also. Now it's gone, or the error has been gone, because we are returning the value after the try and the catch. So it's returning a false if it failed, or returning a result with true if the try has been successful to add the user, or make sure that the user is not null. Sounds great. Now let's try to add the data to the Firebase, and for that we are going to use this instance here. So let's await the Firebase instance.collection. We are setting a collection, and here you have to enter the collection name. It is going to be users, and selecting after that the documentation, which is the next thing in the collection. It's going to be our user UID, saving every data or every user with his own UID. So let's use user.uid. So let's set this user to a data, and if he didn't find the user UID, he's going to create a new document with this ID. How to set the data here? It's required a map of data. So let's enter a map. For the map, we are returning this brackets, and the value, or the first value for the first field, is going to be the user name, and the value is the user dot display name. Now let's duplicate this line, because we need the UID, and also we need the profile image, and for that we are passing the UID, and for that we are passing the photo URL, because we are saving the URL in strings. And I think there is no error, so let's hot restart. First here is authentication. If we log in, we have to get the sign in, and of course it's not going to work because we have to go to the login screen and edit our button in the main screen. As you see here, we are navigating, but we don't need this anymore. So here, let's first, as you remember, here in this class that we create, we are expecting a future boolean value, and before that we need an instance from this class that we created before. So let's go here and create an instance and use this instance. Let's import the package and delete const. Okay, now we are awaiting this here, this function, and it's returning even a true or false. After that, we are going to use this line here. So if this result here is a true, navigate. If not, don't navigate. And now let's hot reload. It says an error here, where the error must be in. Oh, sorry, delete this. The first thing for the Firebase, I don't know how I forget that. We have to go to the main screen here, and first thing we are initializing the Firebase and turning this to a synchronized function and telling him about the Firebase core package. This is initializing the core of the Firebase. But before that, we have to make sure that the Flutter pending is enabled. So let's add this line also and hot restart. Dealing with Firebase is exhausting, but it's very easy if you understand. Now let's sign in. Now it's going to show you this beautiful sign in or sign up menu. So let's use this email. And if you go here, you will find the new user here saved. And for this Firebase storage, it didn't save the data. Oh, there's very important rule that you have to edit, be able to add to the Firebase. We have to do this, publish. Okay, now we can add this data once more. So delete this user. Now we can sign in and choose the email. Now it's going to the next screen. and here we have the email, of course, and here we have the user data. That sounds great. For now, we have reached to the point that we're creating the authentication with Google and also storing the user data with Firebase. Now, since we have the user data, we have to enhance our project here. So let's go first to our config file here for the jitsi meet, and instead of using this static value or hard-coded value, we need to use our user for every user. So let's get this instance to use this class to get the data from the user Firebase authentication. And let's go here. Before we are using this username here, let's add a new string, and after that let's check if the username that we have here is empty or not, or even the user has entered some data or not. If it is empty, so let's get the name from the Firebase. But to get this user, we have to go to the Auth method class here that we created and create a new getter for our user. So we are returning a user and get user. What is going to return for us is our authentication here, or authentication instance, and get the current user. Of course, it's not going to be null, so let's add this mark here. Okay, now we can use this user here in this page, and as you see, it's now the error has been gone. If the user didn't enter anything for the text field, it's going to display our display name from Google. The name could be the username here if the user has entered something in the text field. Now we are using this name here instead of this username, and for the image URL here we are using this user again to get the photo profile or photo URL for the Google profile. And also we could add the email, because we didn't add it in the last video because we didn't have it, so we can use this also and get the email. And that's it for this page here. Now we don't need this anymore. Now I think we need it someplace. Okay, here in this video, now where we need it here to initialize it for the initial value of the text editing field. So instead of that, we are going to need a auth method instance. So we can use this here instead of this and get the user display name. I think there is no more errors. Let's hot restart our application and see if everything working or not. Let's sign in and joining a new meeting. Now it's connecting to the meeting and have the name here. Sounds great. And also we can join the new meeting, and as you see, it's get out my name, and that's working fine. No issue with that. Now we have to get the meeting history, so we need to get a nested collection for every document here. So we have a collection of user or user collection, and every collection have many documents. Every document represent a user, and every user have a collection inside this document here. Is going to be like this. If you open this collection, you will find a lot of documents that represent your meeting history, which is going to create 2 values or more as you like. So to do that, let's go to here in the project, the file that we have created. Okay, it's here, and create a new class and call this class a Firestore method. And in here, because we are dealing with Firebase Firestore, we need an instance for that. So let's import this package, Cloud Firestore. And also we need the data of the authentication user. So let's also create an instance from Firebase Authentication or Auth. In this page, actually, we are going to add 2 functions. The first function is the function that's going to add the data, the meeting history or the meeting collection, which is going to take a string and ask for the meeting name. Also, it's going to be a future function or a synchronized function. And since that is a synchronized function, let's try and catch the error. So in the try, we are waiting for our instance here to get the collection and tell him about the targeted connection, which is going to be users, and select in this collection a document called what? We are going to get the document or the user UID with this getter that we created, UID. Okay. After that, we telling him about another collection inside this user, which is another collection, and give it a new name, which is going to be a meeting. And about this collection, let's add a new map, which is going to be our meeting data. As you see here, we can't use a set because it's a nested collection, so we use add, which is almost the same or as the set function that we used before. So the first key is meeting name, and which is going to take the meeting name that we are going to give him when we add a new meeting. And let's duplicate this, get the create date or the meeting date, and for that we are using the famous function in the Flutter. Every beginner know it. It's the datetime.now that's going to get the time for you right now. Okay, this function for adding a new meeting or adding data of the meeting to meeting collection, but we need also a function or a getter that gets this data as a stream. So we need to create a stream, and this stream returning let's set the return type for now. It's going to return a stream and get a meeting history, which is going to return our, let's use our instance here, Firebase Firestore dot collection. Tell him about the path of the collection. We need a collection of users. After that, go to document, which is going to be the user document, auth.current user.uid. I think it's going to require a null. Okay, and after that, tell him there is another collection. Its name is a meetings, and here please get me a snapshot from all the documents inside this collection here. So we are returning the database. The data type of the return type is going to be a stream of query snapshot for a map that returning for a map with string and dynamic values. This is long data type actually, so I didn't remember it. Okay, I think that's it for this file. Let's go to our config file here, which is responsible about this function that create the meeting. When we create a meeting, we need to call the function that we created here at to meeting screen. So I think we need an instance from this class that we created, which is named Firestore method. So let's create final Firestore method instance and use this instance here. Of course, it's going to be a future. So let's await this here to get or to add a new history meeting. And of course, the meeting name is going to be our room name that the user get or enter manually. Oh, sorry, this function here is not future. It's just a synchronized function inside here, but it's not future or returning future, so we don't need a wait. So that's it. Let's start our hot reload and see if it's adding the data or not. And after that, we are going to use the data and get the stream or the view the stream. As you see here, we sign in every time we open the application, and this is going to be a special video for the authentication wrapper. I will make a video separate from this video in the next video also. Oh, again, we forgot to edit our home screen and go here to show this instead of, we don't have a meeting screen. Oh no, I think we need to create a meeting screen. This tutorial is so long, I'm sorry for that, I didn't mean to do this. So let's create a new file here in the screens. And here we are creating a stateless class. Let's create a stateless class and import the material app. Now we need to show a stream. So instead of container, let's return a stream builder, which require a builder and also a stream. So let's start with the stream, because I think we did it here Nice. So we can use this stream name and put it here. Tell him about, oh, sorry. We need to just get an instance from this class here. Then we can use this stream. It's nice. Now for the builder, it is going to take a function that need a context and the stream snapshot. And this function have a block. And the first thing, we are making sure that the snapshot.connection state is waiting or not. And if it still didn't retrieve the data and still awaiting, we need to show circular progress indicator, and let's wrap it with a center widget to be in the middle of the screen. Center. This could be a constant to remove this warning, and put a semicolon. Okay, that sounds great. Now it's the time that we are returning something, because this function or this builder is going to return something. The first thing we're going to return is a list view, and it's going to be a list view builder, but I think I don't want to waste your time, so let's hurry up and do this code for you faster. So for the item count, it's going to show the number of the list to get the snapshot data, which is going to be null and represent it as a dynamic, and get the document or the docs length of this snapshot. This is going to set the item count. And for the item builder, we are going to return a list tile, and I am sure we don't want to waste our time to build this together, so I will paste the code here. And for that error, you can just import this package here, which is included to our project or our Dart. And I think that's it. Let's hot restart and see our application if it's working or not. If there is an error here, oh yeah, a semicolon, but reload. It says it can't be constant. Okay, it didn't. I can delete it for you and tell me about the package. So I told him about it. Now we start the application and let's sign in. And after that, we're going to show the meeting screen. There is no data, and as you see, the spinner is loading till the data comes from the database. Let's create a new meeting here, and in the meeting, now if we go here to our Firebase in this project, this is a new project. If we restart the application or the page, we are going to find a new collection here. Yeah, it's here. So we find it, we will find the meeting data that we have adding now. And if we go back, let's end this meeting and join here. There's something wrong. Okay, let's hot restart and see. I think there's something wrong with a syntax error. Oh, I'm so sorry. As I told you, it's a spelling matter, because we changed this here from the old code and I didn't change this here. So if we run again, the problem should be solved. Also, we need to edit it here, and for the room name, it's a meeting name. This is the meeting name, and this is the meeting date in the create add here. Now sign in, and I'm sure that everything is going to be okay. Create a new meeting and go here and fill the same. I'm sure that there is something. I just removed the space from here and I delete the collection and add it once more, and now we have the meeting here. If we start a new meeting, and in this meeting we can find another value added here. And for the logout, it's easy. So we forgot to add something here. We need to just log this user out. So let's create a void sign out function, which is going to be a synchronized function. And inside it, let's try and catch, because it's asynchronized. And in the try, we are going to use this Auth here to just sign out, and if there is an error we can do it here, but I think it's outside the brackets. Now everything working, and now for the logout button we go into the home screen, because we have the pages or the button in here, and going to use the class or get an instance from this class and sign out. Okay, tell him about the package and then sign out. If we hot reload, everything should be okay. Now we are signing in, and now we are logging out. That's great. That's it for this video. I'm going to publish this code also in another repo because this is different video. So please, if you have any issue, please let me know. If you go here to my website, you are going to find all the connection channels that you can contact with me. You can contact with me with WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Every single platform. I will be glad to help you, and don't forget to buy me a coffee. Thank you. Bye-bye.